What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday night. Today, we actually got a lot to talk about, Eric. We got Brandon Roy representing the Portland Trail Blazers at this year's NBA Draft Lottery. We got Damian Lillard making third team, which we can talk about that. It was really cool to be able to put Brandon Roy and Damian Lillard in a thumbnail together. This may be my favorite thumbnail ever, just because those two are in it together. But we'll talk about Brandon Roy representing them. We'll talk about Damian Lillard making third team. And we'll talk about the playoffs, as the Sixers seem to be allergic to the conference finals, and the Suns get absolutely eviscerated at home in the second round once again to end their season. So we'll talk a little bit about those two teams, and we'll take your questions at the end of this thing. I think there was one other thing I want to talk about. I forget, though. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Looking forward to tonight's stream, which is presented by BetOnline. You can use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for a 50% reward bonus. You can get in on this second round action that's still going on. You got a Game 7 Boston versus Philadelphia. You got 2 Game 6s tomorrow. And then if you want to make baseball interesting, you can get in on baseball as well. Whatever you want, they have it over there at betonline.ag. Eric, how is your Thursday going?
Oh, it was going well until the 76ers choked that fourth quarter away. But, yeah, then that's going well.
Yeah, I got back from rec, had fun at rec. I'm super sore, so I'm hydrating and trying to stretch out during the stream. So, yeah, I didn't catch that game. You clued me in on the details of how it went down 13 points in the fourth quarter.
That's disgusting. They had complete control of the game. Tatum had done nothing. He was 1 for 14 from the field heading into the fourth quarter. And then he committed a boneheaded take foul, and it looked like the Sixers had all the momentum, and then they just could not frickin' score, dude. It was ridiculous.
So I'm rooting for the Sixers because I want Jaylen Brown. That seems like the most realistic, dream target.
Yep.
And I mean, they were up 3-2 coming back home for Game 6. You got to win that game. And they choke. And now it's Game 7 in Boston. I think Boston takes care of business. And I think we're talking about Philadelphia, once again, not being able to reach a conference finals with Joel Embiid. Meanwhile, it's funny because the discourse was, who deserves MVP? Embiid or Jokic? Meanwhile, Jokic is leading the Denver Nuggets to the Western Conference Finals without another All-Star. He doesn't have another All-Star. Embiid at least has James Harden, has had Jimmy Butler in the past. But, yeah, Embiid and the Sixers just can't get it done. 86 points for an entire game when you have an Embiid and Harden. They got the job done defensively, but couldn't score the freaking ball. That's just an absolute travesty. So, if the Celtics win and move on, especially with Jaylen Brown making an All-NBA team, so now Boston can give him a Supermax, it is, if they move on, the Jaylen Brown dreams are flying out the window. I don't know if they're completely gone, but it's escaping out the window.
Yeah, gonna have to have the Heat or someone take him out, and yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. Because they seemed, before they lost Game 5, it seemed like they were pretty much destined to win this, or be the team that should be the front runner to win it all. And then Philadelphia wins Game 5, has them on the ropes at home, and just can't finish them, man. And Doc Rivers is now owns the most losses ever in elimination games. So congrats to him, I guess.
Yeah, he has not gotten the job done there in Philadelphia as well, and it's going to be really interesting to see this coaching carousel, Eric, because I think if the Sixers lose Game 7, I think there's a legitimate chance that Doc Rivers gets canned. Meanwhile, Suns fans want Monty gone, and with the way the Suns have just absolutely folded in elimination games in back-to-back years in the second round, you have to wonder if maybe Monty Williams is gone. You're talking about teams that have had postseason success, made a finals, won championships, letting go of their coaches this offseason. Nick Nurse got let go. Mike Budenholzer got let go. Both those guys have won championships. Who am I forgetting? I thought there was somebody else.
Well, Dwayne Casey got moved to the front office, but he had won a championship as an assistant, not
Yeah.
as a head coach. But
Yeah. But I mean, you could potentially have Monty Williams on the market. You could potentially have Doc Rivers on the market as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see where Nick Nurse goes, because I think Nurse gets one of those three jobs if those three jobs are open between Phoenix, Philly, and Milwaukee. So
Vogel was fired last year. That wasn't this summer. So
yeah, it's going to be a really
he does
interesting
qualify
coaching
as one of
carousel.
those championship coaches that then gets fired.
Yeah, going to be a really interesting coaching carousel. I think if you lose the series, you have to move on from Doc Rivers. I mean, his teams fold in the playoffs. He does not have postseason success. He is a postseason failure time and time and time again. It happened in Los Angeles. It's happening in Philadelphia. And then I don't know what it is with Monty and Phoenix, but it's not like he had a bunch of depth there. Still, though, the way Phoenix has folded, at home especially, you have to wonder if they need to move on from him. You have to wonder if he's maybe lost that team a little bit. He's especially lost Ayton,
who didn't even play tonight.
What's your thoughts on Ayton going into this offseason for them?
I mean, I think you have to try to find a sucker to take him and hope that it's not just like the Blazers Allen Crabbe situation where you just take a lesser salary and call it good. I think you shop him like crazy to try and get just someone. I mean, if you could still convince the Pacers to want him after that 1 year no trade clause expires, and you can somehow get Miles Turner and salary filler like a TJ McConnell or something, I think you take that in a nanosecond. But those kind of offers are going to be hard to find.
See, it's hard for me to sit here and say they'll get value for him because any hypothetical trade where Phoenix gets value for him involves the other team being stupid.
Yeah.
But there's 30 teams in the league, so it only takes one out of, 29 other teams.
Joe Cronin is a general manager.
Exactly. So it only takes one out of 29 teams to be stupid. So if you look at it like that, then yeah, sure, maybe you can find a team, but whatever team trades for Ayton, because I don't think you can keep him at this point, and I don't think he's the right fit for the Suns. Hopefully it's not the Portland freaking Trailblazers, because we told y'all about Ayton. Okay, we were not on the Ayton bandwagon that a lot of Blazer fans were on last season, and he became one of the most overrated bigs in the league, and part of it was he's drafted first and still young, still 23, 24 years old, but I always said this, Eric. What's a 24-year-old that hasn't improved in 4 years? He might as well be 30. Doesn't matter that he's 24. If you're trading for somebody who's a 24-year-old with the idea that, they're only 24, they still have time to get better, but they haven't gotten better between 20 years old and 24 years old, then what are you really doing? Doesn't really make sense to me. So, Ayton, I mean, it's just kind of surreal to see like Ben Simmons play out the way he did, Ayton play out the way he did, and it just shows that you need guys that are mentally tough in the playoffs. I don't think Memphis was mentally tough, and they, of course, lost to the Lakers. I don't know how mentally tough Phoenix is. At least DeAndre Ayton is not mentally tough, and he really struggled in the series. You look at Ben Simmons a couple years ago, right? And then I wonder if Philadelphia has some demons as well. That's more of a Doc Rivers thing to me. But you need guys that are mentally tough. You need veterans that have been there, done it before. I am starting to value championship experience a little bit more. Because if players play a role on a championship team, that shows that they were able to get through that. It's tough to get through a playoff series. You're playing great teams. You have to beat a great team 4 times. It's not easy. Winning championships is extremely hard. So players with those deep runs that perform well as well matter. So it's just showing me going into this offseason for the Portland Trailblazers, we need guys that are competitive, we need guys with an edge, and we need guys that are mentally tough. We don't need Dylan Brooks competitiveness that'll talk after the game, say a bunch of BS, motivate the other team even more, and then Dylan Brooks gets punked, and then he's delusional, thinking he deserves $25 million a year and wants a bigger role on offense, even though a lesser role on offense, he still plays terribly. So this is just showing me going into this offseason. Blazers need players that are mentally tough.
So you don't want to go back to last summer and trade Anthony Simons and the number 7 pick for DeAndre Ayton in a sign and trade?
Nope. Shaden Sharp and Anthony Simons for DeAndre Ayton. Would you guys take that? Because a lot of Blazer fans wanted to do that last offseason. The 7th pick won't be worth enough anytime soon. Won't be good enough anytime soon. Now Shaden Sharp's basically untouchable, it seems like, for those same people. So.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Hyperprime, $2 dono, says, with Simmons and Ayton, I worry about first overalls. I mean, they're their own players, though. Like, if Simmons and Ayton were in this draft, they're not getting taken first overall. And there's a reason for that.
And Luka should have gone 1 in Ayton's draft anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is if Luka went 1, then, but that's the thing, is I dislike, thank you for the dono, by the way. I just dislike when people use previous drafts to, like, imply or, like, assume things about this year's draft that are completely not correlated.
Well, like Odin and LaRue Martin and Sam Bowie have nothing to do with Wembanyama.
Yeah. Exactly. Because that's one of the things that does bug me. So,
well, if we would have drafted Chet last year and he has that same injury, then it's like, no, we're cursed,
Yeah, I understand the feeling that we're cursed. I mean, when we fell a spot in the lottery last offseason, if you guys have seen the clip, I was sitting there asking why good things can't happen to this team. Now, we'll see if a good thing can happen to this team, and we can have a good thing on stream. On Tuesday, we'll have a live draft lottery stream. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, we went and tested the internet. It seemed to work okay. So Tori is now going to join us for that out in Beaverton. If you're interested in joining us as well, let me know on Discord or Twitter.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. So these playoffs have been crazy. I'm rooting for the Sixers to win Game 7. If not, I mean, how long can you keep going in Philadelphia surrounding Embiid with different stars and not blowing it up? The process, for all the people that want to rebuild, okay, the process of Philadelphia hasn't gotten them out of the freaking second round. It hasn't. That was like 5 years of being purposefully as bad as possible. Their first overall picks during that span, Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons. That's why I feel like people overrate the rebuilding route. Now this year, if you get the number 1 pick, it's great. But guess what? Now the odds have been reduced even more. Before, the worst team had a 25% chance of the number 1 overall pick. Now it's 14%. And I love Markelle Fultz. Don't get me wrong, chat. I love Markelle Fultz. He went to Washington. He went to UW. I'm not a hardcore UW fan, but I do like UW. All the Ducks fans, you guys can yell at me now. But he would have been good if he didn't mess up his shot. But that's the thing, is you never know. You never know. A guy can forget how to shoot, and a guy can just like be absolutely scared to shoot.
I mean, he played pretty well the end of this past season. So yeah, there's still some hope for him.
I mean, it's like, oh, he played good as a role player. It's not, oh, he's just it's not first overall pick good. I like to see him playing better, absolutely. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but. Elizabeth says, Blazers have straight tanked for 2 seasons. You've been in a rebuild, and they have their best assets because of it. They haven't tanked on purpose, though. But that's the thing, is like, people can downplay the chances that the Blazers build a team that wins next season. But normally in doing that, they upplay they upplay rebuilding to the point where it's like over-optimistic.
Well, let's look at the Nuggets, right? Because they lose. Was it the first round they lost to the Warriors last year? It was first round, right?
Sorry, I was drinking.
6 versus 3 or something, right?
Yep.
And
Jamal Murray was out.
I mean, that's a tough matchup for them, but Murray had been missing with that injury for almost 2 years. And then he gets injured again. And then, they don't have another all-star. They have some good role players in and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon and stuff, but they don't have, outside of, if you want to argue Jamal Murray is when he's healthy, they don't have like an all-star level talent. Yet they didn't sell off. I mean, they don't have much of a future because they owe all their picks anyway, but they make a good trade and get KCP, and then they make a good free agent signing and get Bruce Brown, and then they have a player picked in the 20s in the first round, a rookie, in their rotation. So they went from getting someone healthy and then adding 2 really good role players who are good defenders in KCP and Bruce Brown, who both know how to win, stuff like that. And they didn't have Michael Porter Jr. last year for most of the year too. And then so they go to now they're looking like, how do you beat them? I know they have Mike Malone, but it's not like they added 2 all-stars or like traded all their pieces for one good player like Kevin Durant or something, and that's why they're winning. So
the team that traded for Kevin Durant looked
right
no better. Because they had no depth.
So, like, if the Blazers just added, like, a KCP and Bruce Brown level player and get, and the person they draft is a rotation level player, I mean, you could definitely see a big jump from the Blazers next year. It's probably not a big enough jump for contention, but I don't think it's that far. I don't think they're that far away from joining that group that was all bunched together the entire season. And, one of those teams, the Warriors or the Lakers, is going to make the conference finals. And the East teams all of a sudden don't look as unbeatable as they did a few weeks ago. So, it's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, here's what it is. The top talent in the league is no longer as dominant as it was 10 years ago. Okay? 10 years ago, it was like, oh, get LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, and you'll be elite. It helped that LeBron was the best player in the world. I mean, the common denominator is it helps when you have a top 3 player in the world, but other than Jokic, who are the other top 3 players? Giannis, right? And then who's the other? I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting? Like Steph, maybe? I don't know. Who would you say is the... Would you say Embiid's the top 3 player now?
I mean, he just won MVP.
Yes, but so did Derrick Rose. Was he a top 3 back then? I don't know.
I mean, before he got hurt, maybe. But...
It's debatable whether you put Embiid there, but here's the thing. Sure, we can go with Embiid. Or we can go with KD. Or we can go with Steph. Because right now it looks like Embiid's going to lose. Looks like Steph's going to lose. I mean, they're down 3-2. They could still come back, obviously, and Philadelphia could still win, but looks like Steph's going to lose. KD just lost. Giannis lost in the first round.
Tatum's considered top 10. If Philly wins, then he's out, and he's got another good player with him, too.
Jaylen Brown's been playing better than him, arguably. Luka didn't make the playoffs. And it wasn't like Luka was hurt all year. So... It's no longer a situation, Eric. It's no longer a league in which you can just get the best talent and dominate, because the skill gap at the top of the league and between the best players in the league and the worst players in the league, the skill gap has shrunk. Now you get second-round picks and coming into the league, they'll be like 6'8" forwards that can shoot the 3-ball well and like put it on the floor a little bit. That wasn't really the case back in like 2010, 2011. Now, it's rare to find a big that can't, shoot or defend in space. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was like Joel Anthony was getting starts. So, that's what's changed in the league. And I feel like some people, in the way they analyze the league, they're still stuck in, like, thinking about it as if it's 2011. And obviously the best talent helps, but I think we've moved towards you need good role players too, and sometimes good role players beats just having another star.
Yeah, I also heard an interesting theory today that the take foul has led to the pace of these playoffs being quicker than it has been the past few years. So maybe teams with depth that can run can outlast some of these teams that went all in on and don't have the depth, and they get tired. Like in the fourth quarter tonight, Embiid and Harden really struggle in the fourth quarter tonight. KD and Booker carried the team at times throughout these playoffs, but they just didn't have much in the tank when Denver's deep and has a lot of players and is just constantly outgunning them. And so depth is becoming more important if you can run and keep that pressure up for longer, when in the past it's been kind of like a slow it down half court type style. And if the other team does start running, you just foul them and you prevent the fast break.
Yeah, the league is constantly changing, okay? The smart teams, the good teams, are ahead of the change. The worse organizations react, okay? So the Blazers, if they're smart, which I'm not saying they are, because unfortunately it's probably not the case, but if they were smart, Chauncey Billups, Joe Cronin, Burt Cold, since he seems to be in a position to influence decisions, god freaking dang it, they would be watching this year's playoffs and learning from it, seeing what works, seeing why teams are successful, because the league is ever changing. If you can pick up on that faster than other teams, it gives you a better chance. And it seems like that's one of the changes, as you said, seems to be swaying that way. I think part of it could be due to the take foul. I think part of it is the three-point evolution. Mm-hmm. Well, part of it is you look at the Bucks thought they got a good role player in Jay Crowder. He was non-existent. He just wasn't good enough. The Bucks didn't have enough role players, and they didn't have enough shot creators in that first round, Eric. That's why they went on those lulls. Mm-hmm. You got Giannis and Chris Middleton. Drew Holiday is iffy, and Giannis is great. But if Giannis and Chris Middleton are your only two consistently reliable scorers, they needed a Malik Monk, or they needed a guy off the bench, an Anthony Simons type player if they were really lucky, right? But they just needed a guy where you could give the ball to them when Giannis was out of the game or Chris Middleton was out of the game or whatever, or even when they were in the game. You need another guy to give the ball to that could make things happen. You need a guy that could get an outlet pass and go in transition and make things happen. But the problem is they got guys like Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen. Those guys aren't bad. You got Joe Ingles, too. He can shoot. But, those guys aren't bad. But they needed more shot creation. So I think you can look at the teams that have struggled in this year's playoffs, and you can easily see, they're lacking in something specific in terms of their role players, and that's what held them back.
Yeah, well, look at 2 years ago, Dallas's run to the Western Conference Finals. A key player in that was Dorian Finney-Smith, right? He's not a star. He's just a $12-13 million wing player that plays defense and isn't a complete liability on offense. And then you see those two guys I mentioned with Denver this year. So they add KCP in that trade. He's also one of those guys who makes around that and plays solid defense. He was on the championship team, I believe, in 2020 with the Lakers, so he's got experience there. And then they signed Bruce Brown for the tax mid-level exception, $6 million. And so they didn't break the bank on those guys either. So they're with the new CBA, they're not going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting it because they have some top-end players that make a lot of money. But, you have to have that depth there with good value signings. And unfortunately, we go over the tax mid-level exception, get hard capped, and our signing's a complete dud, right? And that's the difference between possibly making the playoffs as the sixth seed and missing it entirely and having to tank again. And so it's little stuff like that. They have to find a way, even if they make a big trade, to add those quality wing defenders because every team that seems to have some success in the playoffs has those kind of guys that don't They're not stars, but they know their role and they play at an elite level at their role.
And they're well-rounded defenders.
Mm-hmm.
That is like kind of the problem with Jeremy Grant is he's not super well-rounded. You can have defenders that have strengths in certain areas if you have other guys that are more well-rounded with them. Because then Jeremy Grant's like a secondary defender, and then he's a complementary guy, and then he can have a positive impact defensively. But if he's like, oh, he's the stopper, well, guess what? That's not his skill set. He's getting screened out of plays now. Now he's not even helping at the rim because he's not being played to his strengths. Now he's not even a positive defender because you don't have that guy that can get through screens. You don't have that guy that you can trust at the point of attack against guards. So Bruce Brown's one of those guys. He would have been awesome. Gary Payton, if he wasn't a freaking bum, and, like, he could have been that, so I get it. But, and that's what they're hoping Matisse Thybulle will be, but I'm a little worried about their hopes there, because he gambles a lot. Like, Bruce Brown would have been awesome. KCP would have been awesome. Like, that's the type of defenders this team needs. Guess what? They used to have them. Aminu was really well-rounded. Harkless was really well-rounded. Mm-hmm. And then Zach Collins would be complimentary at the rim when he played. There's a reason why that core went on a run, despite the roster on paper not looking so well. And that was back in 2019 when it wasn't to this point with the league.
Yeah.
And you look at standings, you look at the upsets in the playoffs so far, backs it all up. The standings were close. You have major upsets. You're going to have a conference finals potentially with a 2 or a 3 seed versus a 5 or an 8 seed. Mm-hmm. Right now it's looking like probably the 2 seed versus the 8 seed if I had to bet. And then the West, you're looking at the 1 seed versus the 7 seed. Or the 1 seed versus the 6 seed. I know it's Golden State, but I mean, if the Lakers take care of business, it's 1 versus 7. You're talking about 2 teams in the play-in out of the final 4 teams. So, I think everything kind of backs this up where it's going.
Yeah, and then the other part of that is, I know rookies can't help you, right? But look at Sharp, right? Let's say he averages, like, conservatively 15 to 17 points next year, right? Yeah. I think that's pretty fair, right? If as long as he gets minutes and stuff. And he's making $6 million, right? So like you have a potential guy, and then 2 years from now he's making like $7.5 million or something, and he's potentially going to be a 20-point per game scorer in his 3rd year, and so you'd have that guy. Basically a close to maybe an all-star level player at $7.5 million, and it allowed you to get other stuff and things like that. So that's why, I don't really. I'm kind of torn on this, but I don't really want to trade our lottery pick, because if you hit on that and you get another talented player that's making very little money, I mean, obviously if it's Wembanyama, it's a different story, but like anyone else out like 2 through 8, that's a good contract and potentially a good player to add to the core, and you can make the moves for like the KCP or the Dorian Finney-Smith or whatever, those type of players in addition to that, and get better, improve your depth, and potentially add a star through the draft without having to give up any of your really good players elsewhere. I still think that's, if we're just talking like the slimmest of chances going any of these routes, I still think hitting on another draft pick and making some good moves and then having those guys burst into like stardom, as slim as that possibility is, it's still slightly better in my mind than trading for like a Kevin Durant and becoming a championship level team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want this to make it seem like you don't need top talent at all. You still need top talent.
Right. But we still need top talent. Dame, we talked about this early in the season, Dame, Jeremy, and Anthony that's like a really good trio. Like there's not many trios in the NBA, just top 3 players that are better than that if they're playing well. Like maybe not defensively, but just in terms of having your top 3 players, those guys, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, they did, like Jeremy fell off a little bit, but.
I will say this about those two, and it's going to come across as negative, but whatever. We still don't know how Anthony Simons plays as a starter getting 35 minutes a game in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he'll be worse or anything, but like we still don't know. Some guys fall off, some guys struggle. I talked about the whole like mentally tough thing, and I don't think that Anthony seems very mentally tough and just kind of like even keeled and whatever, so I'm not worried about him, but still got to find out. And then Jeremy, we haven't seen him be anything more than a role player in the playoffs, and like some of the ways he likes to score, I have to wonder if he would have more trouble in the playoffs. Like, he'll be able to knock down threes and whatnot, but just a lot of his drives where he's just kind of driving at guys and drawing fouls, like, those aren't going to be fouls in the playoffs. His ISO scoring, like, I'm not entirely sure that's just going to fully translate to the playoffs, and he's going to be like an efficient 20 to 22 point per game scorer in the postseason. So I'm not saying anything definitively. I'm just saying that I do wonder a little bit as to if those guys would be able to play up to that level, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, outside of 2019, CJ, or I should say, since the 2019 Game 7, including the Western Conference Finals, CJ didn't exactly bring it after that. He's known as like carrying the Blazers that year, you know, but like he had terrible series. And he was not good against the Warriors. He was not good the next few series while he was still a Blazer. And so, yeah, it's you got the image of him stepping out of bounds, you know, in the fourth quarter of Dame's 55-point game and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and that's where it's like, if you can trade Ant and reasonable assets for Jaylen Brown, who's proven he can be the second best player on a team that's made the finals, and if you're serious about actually trying to make a run in the playoffs, that's where you do it. You know, that's where you would do that trade, and that's the reasoning for potentially moving that lottery pick for another like top end piece, depending on where the lottery pick ends up, is just so you get that like second proven guy next to Dame that you know will be a really good player in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown's game rose in the playoffs the past couple of seasons. Like, I feel like he's played better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. Like, he's been great in this year's playoffs. So,
as long as they don't ask him to try to create late, which he wouldn't have to here necessarily.
Yeah.
But.
So, I mean, Jaylen Brown is just a hypothetical, like, because anytime you ever bring up any hypothetical name, it's just an example. But people always want to get into details, like, this wouldn't happen because blah, 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 blah. I'm just speaking as a thought process. That's why you would trade Ant for a guy that's proven it. And hopefully, you know, you would want to trade Ant for a guy who's better, because I still think Ant has some growth left. And I think Ant is a lead guard, could legitimately be like a 25, 26 point per game scoring all-star. And he could be a guy who rises in the playoffs, you know? He could be phenomenal in the playoffs. I don't know.
I will say,
we haven't really seen it.
I mean, well, it's small sample size, but he came off the bench, what was that, 21 against Denver. Didn't he hit like 4 straight threes or something against the Nuggets?
Something like that.
And scored double digits that game off the bench, and we won game 1 in that series.
Yeah, but you know, it's a different level of attention.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's like, at least he's shown a few flashes. I want to say he shot the 3. I'm gonna look up his stats for that series.
Yeah, I'm curious. Read them off to me. I'll read a couple donuts while you do that. Shout out Tape Plays $2 donut says, has Embiid had a good coach? I say no. I mean, I'd agree with you. Bruce Brown, or not Bruce Brown. What was his name?
Brett Brown, I think.
Brett Brown, yeah. Brett Brown wasn't a good coach, and Doc Rivers I can't stand Doc Rivers, so he is not. I agree. Shout out Caleb Pendergraph, $5 dono. Thank you, Caleb, for the $5. Says, so tired of the Dame out noise in the national media. Meanwhile, Dame is spending part of his offseason at the Blazers draft prospect workouts. Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about Dame. I'm not worried about Dame. I mean, we'll see how this offseason goes, but I mean, that's the thing where you gotta sit with Dave. It's just like, bro, we need better role players, you know? Like, because they were close. It wasn't like they were out of the pack. They were ahead of the Lakers when the Blazers blew it up. Now the Lakers are 1 game away from the conference finals. So the thing is, Lakers went out and got good role players that have been huge for them. They reshaped their roster with some good role players. D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, is Malik Beasley even playing at all? Like, I feel like I haven't heard his name, so...
Not a ton, but he's known as like a floor spacer and stuff. But...
So even if he doesn't do anything, at least he'll draw a defender away from the paint. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not worried about Dame whatsoever. I do wonder if we just draft a couple guys and, you know, make just a very mid-signing, what happens then. But until that happens, I'm not going to worry.
I mean, you can't... In my mind, you can't just draft guys and then not hit free agency. Like, you have to sign someone good, or you have to make some sort of trade, whether it's, packaging Nas and Keon and Knox and somehow getting that Dorian Finney-Smith level player. You have to do something like that to get some sort of depth, so you're not relying on those draft picks. If the draft picks come in and exceed those guys or exceed expectations and contribute more so than they're thought of, then great. But like Dame said, I completely agree with him. I'd be sick of this too if I was Dame, of the players that you're expecting to pop when you have no idea if they're going to or not, and you're just hoping that they will.
Yeah. I will say this. I know you talked about how you don't really want to trade the lottery pick. I am getting to the point where I don't really want to trade the 23rd pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're doing your video.
As I pour into just more of the film of guys available here, man,
yeah,
there will be somebody available at that pick, in my opinion, that will be able to help a good team. I think, and I don't know your opinion on these guys, but I think Colby Jones could help a good team next year. I think he could play for a playoff team next year. I watched some film on Kobe Buffkin. I was really impressed. I see why he's risen.
I don't think he's going to be there at 23, but yeah.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah.
But, we toss out these names, somebody has to fall. Derek Lively, I think, could play as a backup center for a good team. There's another guy I forgot about. But Leonard Miller, I could see him coming in and just being a good, maybe a
solid
slightly above average defender, good rebounder, be able to put the ball in the... Yeah, I could see Leonard Miller coming in and being a player for a good team. I think Leonard Miller will go before 23, though. But here's the thing is, if you keep talking about, he doesn't seem like he should be there at 23, well, guess what? The more guys you talk about, somebody is going to be there at 23. You can't have 40 players taken before 23. And as I just dive into more of the film of these prospects in that range, there's some intriguing pieces that seem NBA ready.
Well, I see more and more mocks. I mean, mocks aren't official or anything, but with Sasser falling to our pick at 43, and if we trade Anthony or Sharp or whatever and need a depth, I think that guy's going to be a day one third guard in a rotation. He's probably not going to be a good starter level player, but he could absolutely be a third guard off the bench, potentially a 6-man type guy down the road.
Yep. I mean, another guy who could fall to 43 with our pick that I could see playing a role on a good team. It's just kind of dependent upon if he can knock down enough shots. But if Andre Jackson is able to knock down enough threes, I mean, he passes the ball really well. He defends extremely well, and he's super athletic, and he rebounds. And he's just if he can knock down threes, he cuts really well. He has a lot of positive traits. He's just shot 28% from three. So, but that's the thing is, there's certain guys where it's okay, they shot 28% from three. Do they have to be able to shoot threes to have an impact? Because there's certain guys where it's if you're just talking about bench role, 8th man, 9th man, fringe rotation player on a solid team, I don't know if they do a bunch of stuff well, I don't know if they have to be a 3-point shooter. Just kind of depends on your bench makeup. But he's a guy I like because he does a lot of things well. And that's normally what I look for in role players that are ready to help teams, or just guys that are solid in a bunch of areas. That's why I like Colby Jones so much. Because I think he competes defensively. He passes, makes good reads, doesn't play too sped up, doesn't force too much. Really good in the pick and roll. Really good floater. Rebounds.
Well, I don't know if you saw this conversation in the GC earlier, but Tommy was asking what the difference is between Anthony Black and Kobe.
Anthony Black is more athletic, quicker. That's the difference. He has more upside because of that.
They're both, I don't know. I think they both are close defensively. I don't know. I think I could see Jones being that tougher guy that we're looking for, versus more, maybe Black's a little more finesse.
I mean, but that's the thing. He could be there at 23. Now, I have, as of now, late lotto grade on Colby Jones because I think he'll be able to help day one, and I think he'll be a good role player day one. He doesn't have a ton of upside. Anthony Black is just the better prospect, in my opinion, because he's much younger. He's 19 and a half. Colby Jones, I think, is like he's turning 21 on May 28th.
Yeah.
So Anthony Black is like a year and a half younger,
yeah.
but he also, I mean, this is where we need to see measurements too, like the draft combine will change stuff, but he also seems a little bit taller and a little bit quicker, a little bit more athletic, and that goes away.
I don't think we've talked about this, but thank you, NBA, for forcing players to go and measure at the combine. Like, I know they don't have to this year, but starting next year they'll have to, but it looks like everyone other than Victor Wembanyama who's still playing. But if you're still playing and don't go to the combine, you have to do it at a later date. So thank you for making them. I don't think they should be made to scrimmage or anything, but to do the drills and stuff and have that database on every NBA player moving forward will be great. And don't allow those guys to skip that because they should be measured. Everyone should know that. And all these fans, that helps promote your game instead of players like hiding and stuff like that.
Yep. There's another player. I mean, there's guys where it's like maybe if they pan out. Chris Murray is another guy who could maybe help a team.
Sure.
Jordan Hawkins, if he falls there just as a shooter. There's guys. So at this point, I feel like there's going to be a player at 23 where it's like he can help us this year, just like a Christian Brown in Denver, and just eat up minutes. And it's like, if we trade that pick to get the Bulls pick back, I'm a little bummed. I'd rather just like, I don't know. Like, obviously we're getting the Bulls pick or the pick back from the Bulls. We're probably trading it.
Yeah.
So otherwise it doesn't really make a difference, I guess, if we trade the 23rd pick or trade it to Chicago to get the 2024 first. But I mean, if there's a way to keep the 23rd pick, I value that more than protected future first.
You know what's funny? A few weeks ago, you were arguing the exact opposite, so I'm glad you came around.
Was I?
Yeah, because I was saying, like, it doesn't make sense to trade the Knicks pick just to trade it, and you were like, oh, it does to free up the picks, and it's, I don't, like, you seem to not really care about the 23rd pick that much anyway.
This is how it normally goes, starting to pour into more film on players, and especially in a draft that was labeled as deep, like, around this time is when I start to, like, and I watch Colby Jones as Xavier. It's just different diving into particular, like, play types and just seeing him do specific things. Like, of course, when you just look at highlights, it's going to show the best, but, I've been at this a while, so normally around this time is when I find players I like, and I think I've had a pretty good track record 20 on down in the past few years. The top 20, I'm kind of embarrassed about my track record. Hasn't been as good as I'd like. But yeah, because I barely watched Michigan this year. And when I watched Michigan, I was watching Jet Howard.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to Kobe Buffkin, and I wasn't watching them enough where he would like really flash at me, and he came on late in the year.
Jet's another player that has been all over the board in terms of around 10 to anywhere to our pick at 23.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a shooter off the bench that can play the three, there you go. He can shoot 45% from three. He's listed as 6'8", 250 pounds, so like big body power forward that can shoot threes and seemed to move pretty well when I watched him, potentially. Amari Bailey, if what he did at the end of the year is truly who he is because he fell down draft boards, I wonder if he goes back, though. There's intriguing players in this draft. So everybody just focused on the top, but we're at the point of the year, especially after the lottery, where we're going to focus on players further down in the draft that could potentially help this team.
If I lose, yeah, I'm having some computer issues, so.
No, it's mine, I guess.
Oh, is it?
Let me plug the Ethernet cord in. I forgot to plug it in. Watch, they're going to come back and just see me.
My internet completely froze, so I don't know.
Oh, your internet froze too?
Yeah.
Tori's computer exploded. That's not good.
I opened up a draft page that I know better than to open up on stream. It always messes up.
Dude, we haven't lagged it forever. I mean, I plugged in the Ethernet. I should be fine. Why is your internet glitching? If mine's glitching. It's because you opened that page?
Yeah. My whole computer's like Chrome's not responding.
So you opening up that page crashed the stream on my computer?
No.
Because I guess we're both crashing at the same time.
Because our connection's fine though.
Yeah, but they were saying the stream died. Chat was saying the stream died.
Yeah.
Which so I don't know why the stream died.
Well, maybe your stream died and it just crashed my computer and it wasn't the webpage.
I don't know what's going on. That's just a coincidence, I guess. But Raiden says, my power went out. Portland is burning down. Well, I hope not.
I can't do anything right now.
I'll just talk and see you.
Yeah, so. I'll just talk.
Joseph, of course watching games is the best way to talent scout, obviously. Obviously. I don't know what you think you're saying there. Yeah. I didn't know that was debatable. You were out for 2+ minutes? Yeah, I think you just have to refresh the stream. I don't know. Murray is like hyped up about his freaking screenshots.
Okay.
I'm going to make you delete them unless you don't know Murray, so that's the deal. Yeah, it wasn't really I don't know what was happening. We're good now though. So Taylor Packer says, but anyways, Tori, you convinced me on Dyson Daniels last year, so I'm putting my faith in Eric this year. I mean, Dyson was fine when he played.
Jury's still out on him. Still can't shoot, but he got off to a hot shooting start and then he just fell off. Hey,
yeah, I'd say put your faith in Eric in the top 20 and put your faith in me beyond that. Or you can go first round for Eric, second round for me if you want to.
Well, I have all my guys that you have after 20 in my top 20. So,
what do you mean?
Like second round picks. Like I'm just saying. Like I had Jabari Walker like 25 or something on my board.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, he's not a second round sleeper. He's a first round guy. You know.
True. Who's your Jabari Walker this year?
I can't do anything right now, so I can't even look at my board or anything. So, yeah.
You might have to pull up mock draft on your phone or something. Deron Holmes, that's the guy you like.
I love Deron Holmes, but he's not like an end of the second round guy.
If he measures like 6'7.5" in shoes or like 6'8", do you still love him?
In shoes?
Without shoes, I meant.
I mean, I think he can play power forward. I don't like him as much, but I don't know. To me, I don't think he's like that much smaller than like Claxton is.
Yeah. Also, like Noah Clowney is. I'm interested to see his measurements because he seems pretty fluid. He's still gonna be 18 on draft day, almost 19. Turns 19 July 14th. He can shoot a little bit, only 28% from three in college, but his form is okay. So yeah, but I mean, confidence is the first part of the battle, right?
Yeah.
And then form, like confidence and form, he has his shot just doesn't go in, but it's like I don't know. I could see him being a solid 3-point shooter. I don't know. Can he be a center? He's really skinny. I'm just wondering if he has the height and the length plus the athleticism to play some center. Because I don't like Noah Clowney at a 4. For me, it's just like, does he have the length to play the 5? Because he doesn't have the weight right now. But, I mean, you look at like Claxton. Claxton was thought of as an undersized 5 coming into the league. That's why he wasn't drafted highly. But then his athleticism helps make up for it, and he's a really good rim protector because he's quick off the floor and has enough length.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do you identify that next guy, you know? Pasty Zach, I wish. Although we kind of need to see a different team at this point. Hopefully your computer stops hating on you.
Yeah. People in chat mentioning Trace Jackson Davis. He's got really good NBA level skills, except for I don't think he's going to be as effective in the NBA when he can't shoot.
If he was 3 inches taller, and obviously, like, it's not just about height. I've made that point a million times. It's about, like, wingspan, standing reach, etc. But, like, if he was just bigger, lengthier, I think there would be a chance he could get drafted in the lotto. Because, like, if he was a center with those skills, Eric,
mm-hmm.
then I could see him being a problem. The problem is, I mean, right now he's listed as 6'9". Who knows? He could be that guy that's like 6'8".
Yeah.
At a power forward. And it's just, okay, his skills are nice, but he doesn't shoot. Defensively, like, he can block some shots, I guess. But if you're not playing a center spot, how, you know, secondary rim protector who can't shoot and whose skills aren't unique at the power forward spot, I mean, how good is that, you know? It'd be better if he had those skills at the center position.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, there's guys in this draft, like there are with every draft, where it's like, it depends on what they measure.
Yeah.
Chad Coe says Isaiah Wong. That's like the next Alonzo Trier.
I mean, he could maybe catch on as like a scorer, but he doesn't really do a lot else. Yeah.
He's shifty. He's shifty.
See, my problem is I identify guys that are like way down there early, but by the time it comes to draft time, it's like, oh, like, you idiot, they're a top 10 pick. Like, why would you say that that was your sleeper?
Who was that? Taylor Hendricks.
Taylor Hendricks.
See, I even identified him a little bit early. I was telling you, like, I like the way he moves for his size with his shooting ability. And that was when I was a complete casual on him.
Well, that's because I was telling you for weeks that I really...
No, I thought that was early, man. I promise you that was early.
No, Taylor Hendricks I kept telling you about, and then you finally checked him out and said those things.
You were telling me about him in September? I'm just kidding. I wasn't that early. I was pretty early. I think it was like November. I think it was November. Maybe I checked him out because you liked him and I liked him too. The thing is I will not agree with you just to agree with you. So if you told me to check him out and I checked him out and I liked him, it's because I like him. We are not afraid to disagree. I love it. Makes for some good debates.
Jalen Wilson from Kansas could be that guy that, you know, kind of role player type wing that does a little bit of everything. Shooting's not great, but can score a little bit, can defend, can rebound, all that kind of stuff. I guess he's probably going to go first round or into the first round, but that's kind of like who I closest comparison to Jabari, I think.
Yeah. With Jalen Wilson, I just feel like he does a lot of things solidly at the college level. I'm just not sure if anything's going to be like clearly a positive on the NBA level with him.
Dude's a winner, though.
Yeah. So was Tim Tebow.
Yeah. Well, it's a different sport.
Yeah. I mean, Christian Brown was a winner. He won a championship. Look at him. Elizabeth Allen says, yeah, Jordan Miller for my end of the second guy. I mean, he's a guy with some size and length that can score.
He gets all his points off like fast breaks and stuff. Like, he's not a good shooter. I really like him as like an undrafted two-way guy.
Yeah.
But defender, he's going to compete. Yeah, so if you're just looking for like maybe the next kind of wing defender that can cause some turnovers and get out on the fast break, I think that's not a bad in the second round undrafted guy.
And there's always guys where it's like, if you could just teach him how to shoot.
Yeah.
You know? For an undrafted guy, if you have a guy where it's like, if we could just teach him how to shoot, he'd be definitely an NBA role player, then that's probably the guy you should target.
I want to say he's older too, so it's probably a little less likely.
I thought, what did he shoot? I'm curious. I don't know off the top of my head.
He's 23.
He shot 35% from three this year.
Yeah. Well, how
shot 2.5 a game in 35 minutes, so the volume was a surprise.
They were freaking wide open almost every time. Like wide open. But yeah, he's 23, so.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Like some guys get into the league and just knock down shots. I mean, look at freaking Drew Timme in the combine last year. Do you remember that? Do you remember Drew Timme hit like 4 or 5 threes in the combine? Yeah. Like one was off the dribble or something. And I was like, ooh, if he goes back, he's going to shoot threes this year. And then this year for Gonzaga, during his entire season, he hit as many threes as he hit in that combine game. He was 4 for 24, 16.7%. Lowest 3-point percentage of his college career. So So I don't know. Because dude, I don't understand him. Because he works hard. It's just like, you got to be able to shoot threes to play in the league.
Well, he freaking knew that too. Like, that's why, like, maybe last year you could have convinced me, you know, as like an old school big off the bench, just like scoring big, you could maybe catch on with the team as late second undrafted guy. But for him to go back knowing that the only way he's going to take a jump is if he starts shooting the three with consistency, and then to seemingly like not even do it at all, like it doesn't seem like he even tried to develop a 3-point shot. That frustrates me. I'm completely out on Timme. I mean, I pretty much was already, but I hate. You should just go back to Gonzaga at this point.
Sure. I mean, I hate that I agree, but it's facts. It's true. Like, that's, frustrating. Timme probably getting a fat bag from NIL deals. Not probably, he is getting a fat bag from NIL deals.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so marketable.
He was one of the highest in college. I know Bronny made more than him, but that's kind of a rare exception.
Yeah. It just says get wrecked. What, my emotions?
Because he's Gonzaga. I don't know.
IZ Jace, we're talking about freaking draft prospects. We've been talking about draft prospects for like 25 minutes. This Raptor fan just says BS trades and drives me crazy.
Same thing.
Said he was preaching facts earlier when he was telling me things that were factually wrong about the CBA. Anyway. I'm tired of talking about trades. We're not talking about trades. One more trade comment that's not draft related. I'm out. Shout out Hyperprime, $10 dono says, I have a crazy question. I know there are college athletes that play both basketball and football in college. So has there ever been a college athlete that expected in both the NFL and NBA drafts? That was expected in the... I don't get it.
Well, see, the problem with the NFL and NBA is the season overlaps so much. So the NFL season, if you make the playoffs, lasts through January, and the season for basketball is, September through April. So it's there has been people who have done it. Kevin H mentions Charlie Ward, but he was I believe he won the Heisman at Florida State as a quarterback, and then was drafted first round in the NBA. But there are many players that play both because he just went strictly basketball once he was done. So your Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates, yes, they played college basketball, but they didn't play professional football and basketball.
Yeah. Doug Johnson, $10 donut says Ryan Kalkbrenner, center, 7'1". I see him around the 50th pick. Any thoughts? What is the difference between him and Derek Lively? He's bigger than Jabari, but could be a steal. Kalkbrenner is just nowhere near as mobile as Derek Lively.
Yeah, he's food on the perimeter. So like you can't switch with him. He'd be okay. Maybe you can do something with in like kind of the Walker Kessler mold where you just run exclusively drop with him. But he's like a lanky 7-footer. Like at least Walker Kessler had some like some beef to him, you know, like he's a little bit physically imposing, whereas I don't think Kalkbrenner's like at all imposing on the inside.
Yeah,
like,
he's also doesn't seem to have the best balance / coordination.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing with bigs, you know, mobility, of course, but then also like, do they have good balance? Do they have good coordination? That's why I like Lively. And if they do have good coordination, then you can put a little more stock in like, okay, maybe they can develop some sort of skill with that. Like, I think Lively can be a solid short roll passer, and I don't think his jump shot is completely broken. Like, I think maybe he can be one of those guys that develops a 3-point shot. I don't think his form is crazy bad or anything. Going into college, he was looked at as a big that could knock down some threes. He was regarded higher because of that. Just didn't really pan out. But, you know, and that's the thing with Lively, too, is like he's mobile enough and good enough defensively where even if that doesn't, those things don't pan out, he could still be a good role player because he'll just be a lob catcher, mobile big who can switch a little bit and protect the rim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recently watched a Duke game and I fell back in love with Lively.
Yeah.
He just does so many like little things that this team, especially the Blazers, haven't had in a long time. Just the lob threat, but like can go up and get high lob passes off the rolls to the basket a lot more than pop. We just don't really have a lot of, because most of our rolls to the short roll, it's never like all the way to the hoop, and like he was just so good at it. And rebounding, I feel like he's going to be one of the best rebounders in the league eventually. And I just like the way he tracks balls on his block shots. Yeah, I just think there's a lot to like, even if he doesn't develop that other stuff. But I do think he showed some sneaky good passing flashes out of the short roll, so maybe that's something that a team can develop with him too.
Yep, absolutely. So for me, after the lottery, maybe the Blazers would have to trade up a little bit for a couple of these guys, but Derek Lively I love. If we need a guard, I love both. I still need to watch more tape on Buffkin, but I'm really impressed with his athleticism, finishing some of his off-the-dribble jumpers, like 6'4". We'll see what he measures. Defensively, seems like he could be solid on that end. Like he's a guy that impressed me. Colby Jones as well. Like those two guards, if we need a guard, depending on obviously trading Anthony Simons for something in the front court, and then Leonard Miller at the forward position. Mm-hmm. Those are kind of the four guys that I like right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we in agreement? We're actually in agreement. What?
Yeah, man. I like a lot of those guys. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Anyway, thank you, Doug Johnson. Thank you, Hyper Prime, for the donos.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Well, speaking of the draft, we got Brandon Roy. What did you think when you heard the news?
Oh, yeah, that's what we have to talk about. Dude, I was so hyped, man. I was so hyped. Like, I suggested it on Twitter about a month ago. I didn't think it would actually happen. I was shocked when I saw that because he just hasn't had anything to do with the team in so long.
Yeah.
The fact that he's going to be at the draft lottery representing us is just kind of surreal.
I have heard, I'm hoping this is true, that this is going to be the start of them trying to incorporate him back into that, with the next step being them retiring his number here in the hopefully that is announced here sometime this offseason for a ceremony at some point during the season next year.
I will absolutely 1,000% be going to that game.
Nice.
1,000% be going to that game. They retire his jersey. I have to. Dude.
They haven't allowed anyone to wear 7 since there was the second year Carmelo came here. Brandon Roy called him and gave him permission to wear 7 if he wanted it when he re-signed with us. And Carmelo stayed 0-0, so he didn't take him up on his offer. So as a sign of respect, so no one's worn it since. So I'm assuming that's been the plan for a while. I just don't know why they haven't done it already.
Yeah, dude, he like made me fall in love with the Blazers. And Mike Barrett was on a podcast talking about like it was more of a possibility than anyone realized that the Blazers could relocate. I think it was like coming out of the Jailblazer era and just the whole mess that was. And Brandon Roy coming along helped keep them in Portland. Like, I don't know how much I read into that, because Paul Allen seemed like he wanted to keep the Blazers in Portland, and everything he did seemed to like back that up. So I don't know really what the deal was with Mike Barrett saying that, but I mean, who knows? Maybe Brandon Roy helped keep them in Portland. Regardless, he helped us get out of that Jailblazer era, and for me, helped me fall in love with the NBA, helped me fall in love with the Blazers. Mm-hmm. So without Brandon Roy coming along, if it was still an era like that, I don't know how much I get into the NBA. Now, obviously, being 6'4", I was like, I played basketball, so that helped, right? If I was 5'8" and Brandon Roy didn't come along, I don't know. Maybe this channel doesn't exist. So there's a soft spot in my heart for him. As a kid, I still remember, Game 4, Dallas. I had a high school summer league game that I was at, and had a guy I knew well in the stands behind me updating me on the score when I was on the bench. Oh, they're down 20. Oh, damn. Well, at least I don't have to focus on this game. And then I just get updates like, oh, they're down 15. Oh, they're down 10. Brandon Roy's going off. Oh, they're down 5. Oh, they have the lead. So, like, I actually didn't get to watch that game when it happened, unfortunately. I kind of regret that now. But, I was trying to become an NBA player myself. Obviously, dramatically failed that. But, this is a good backup plan, I guess. Regardless, Brandon Roy, soft spot in my heart. So just seeing him at the draft lottery is going to be surreal. And I hope they retire his jersey.
Yeah, I wonder how that all came about, because, he's a pretty private guy, hasn't really done a whole lot. I know he's come down a couple times, but it's very, very few and far between his appearances. So, yeah.
That's so dope. Yeah, that made me happy.
Yeah. And hopefully he brings us luck. Yeah, there's, two things can happen. He can either strike gold again and get the first pick, or, it wasn't meant to be. But let's not blame him. It's not his fault, just like it wasn't Dame's fault last year.
Yeah. Because there will be those freaking assholes, okay? And that's what they are, assholes that will say, oh, we sent Brandon Roy and he's cursed. So he cursed us. There will be assholes that say that, and they're just assholes with no life. Because that's just lame. Like, that's just ridiculous. That's just stupid. It just doesn't even make any sense. Logically and figuratively, they're assholes. There will be those people. Screw them.
Can we clone Brandon Roy this summer and have him come back and help the Blazers?
Bro, you kidding? We got Shaden Sharp. He's Brandon Roy with the vertical, right?
Him and Dame would be so fun to watch.
See, that's who I want to mentor, Shaden Sharp. I want Dame and Brandon Roy. Can we get Brandon Roy on the coaching staff?
Well, people were saying that'd be cool if we made him the G League coach.
That would be pretty dope.
That would get people to be more interested in it, too.
Oh, dude, I'm going to the first G League game. Yeah. I'm going to the first G League game. If that's the case, I will go to some G League games this year. Do we have a G League team? Brandon Roy's representing us at the draft lottery. Dude, what is happening? What's next? We're going to get Victor Wembanyama?
We had a draft workout, and there was a bunch of casuals saying they'd never heard of any of the names, but Dame was at the workout, for players that people had never heard of.
Next, Burt Cold's going to, just decide to retire from having anything to do with this team, and then Jody Allen will be like, well, without Burt, I want to sell. And then we get Wemby and Jaylen Brown. Anyway, I'm going to stop dreaming now. But, yeah, it's just, one of those things, man. It's kind of crazy that we have a G League team, and Brandon Roy's going to represent us at the draft lottery. I'm just thinking about... hopefully looking back at me saying this now in a week and saying, oh, but we also got Wemby.
I'm really glad not only are the Blazers doing workouts for players this year, but they're doing them early. Remember last year there was the I forgot what it was, but it was we didn't work out anyone that was possibly be our second round pick.
Yeah.
And we just didn't. It was a week before the draft. We're are we gonna work out anyone that's close to the 36th pick at the time? Or obviously we knew we were trading it, but we still got the 46th pick in that deal. So it wasn't that much different of prospects you'd have to scout and stuff. So
yeah. Since we started the channel in 2019, because that was our first draft stream was 2019. I'm just thinking back the undrafted players that have had an impact, become solid NBA players, at least. 2019, I know Wikipedia shows good undrafted players. There's been a lot of guys that we have identified that have come into the league and become good role players. And we're talking about undrafted players. So if you're talking about middle of the second round, there is a legitimate chance to get a guy who could help out the team in the next couple of seasons. Yeah. Taking that seriously is the smart thing to do. That's why you bring in those guys for workouts.
Maxey wasn't undrafted. Why was he?
What? Who said?
People were. Cole Ray mentioned Wesley Matthews. G. Wilker said Trent Watford, and then YYC said Maxey.
No, Maxey was what? He was
21st or 23rd or something.
Yeah. But in 2019, the one that sticks out to me is Lou Dort.
Yeah.
Lou Dort. I'm going down the list. I don't think there was another guy it was a little bit light that year. Kelton Blevins was undrafted. He's on this list. Caleb Martin. And I've liked Caleb Martin for a while. When he was in college, I picked Nevada to go on that run they did. They ended up losing to Loyola Chicago, but
I didn't like the Martin twins at all, even their first couple of years in the NBA.
Oh, you know who else was undrafted that year? Nas Reed.
Yeah.
My guy, Nas Reed.
Yep.
My freaking guy. 2020, we had, let's see, I'm just looking down a list of undrafted names. Oh, yeah, I liked Mason Jones in that draft. He didn't pan out. I like Najee Marshall, too, though, and he's become, an okay role player.
Free agent this summer, I think.
Yeah. But, that's the thing is most of these guys aren't going to become anything, so you're going to miss them more than you hit. I like Killian Tilly. I thought he could be something. Unfortunately, injuries just didn't really allow that to be a thing. But Najee Marshall as a free agent target is intriguing. That's a guy I wouldn't mind. 2021, Austin Reeves. Yeah, so there's undrafted guys that are gettable. And that's the thing is, without Austin Reeves, are the Lakers in this spot right now?
Sorry, G. Willikers, we did actually use a second-round pick on CJ Elleby.
Yeah. That was the 2021 draft.
Connor says, ouch, I'm hurt, Eric. What'd I say?
Oh, no, we drafted Greg Brown. Yeah.
That was the year before.
No, Greg Brown was in the Austin Reeves draft, 2021. Elleby was 2020, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kalizakis was my guy in 2021. He's still my guy. And then last year, obviously, it's too early, but, I like Dominique Barlow a ton. When he went undrafted, I was begging for us to sign him. That was like the one guy I wanted over Jabari with the 59th pick, and he showed some things at the end of the year, and obviously they were tanking, so it doesn't really mean much, but, I mean, he could still become something. Kenneth Lofton looks like he's probably going to be the best undrafted player out of this group, though, because nobody else is. Jonathan Williams is on there. Anyway.
Kenneth Lofton, a.k.a. the Eric Brandt package. Snacking $2 donation says, Blevins jersey retirement getting courtside tilts. Assuming he meant tickets, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there'll be $2 for those.
Yeah.
Orlando Robinson, yeah, that was a guy I liked. Still could be something.
Yeah,
too early.
It's tough. Yeah, no, so. How did the Lakers get Shaq Harrison? His 10-day was up with Portland, and he signed like the last day of the season. He actually signed, I think, a second year with them, non-guaranteed. But yeah.
Let's talk about Dame being third team. I thought it was BS.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
I actually thought he was going to get snubbed altogether. So I guess I'm happy he got third team. But yeah.
Like, here's the thing I have a problem with. SGA didn't make the playoffs. Their team's records, the Blazers records with Dame and the Thunder record with SGA were like identical, almost identical. Dame was statistically better in almost every key stat than SGA. He had more points per game. He had more rebounds per game. Or no, rebounds per game was even, but he had a higher rebound percentage. Dame did. Barely. Dame had a higher assists per game. Dame had a higher 2-point percentage. Dame had a higher 3-point percentage. Dame had a higher free throw percentage. Of course, that means that Dame also had a higher true shooting percentage, higher effective field goal percentage. So, the only argument you can make is like, oh, well, SGA played a few more games, but...
He plays defense.
How many did he play?
Yeah, the thing for me is...
He played 10 more games. He played 68 games instead of 58 games. Like, really?
And Dame was forced to sit out.
And Dame was forced to sit. Dame's stats would have probably been even better if he kept playing, so didn't make sense.
Dame actually, according to offensive EPM, had a top 5 season of all time offensively. And
his third team.
And, like, the top 5 ever are, like, LeBron, Steph, Harden, and whatever his MVP year was. It's like the list is pretty exclusive. Like pretty much everyone on that list got like first team All NBA for sure the year, whatever year it was that they got that. So
meanwhile, you got Luka played 66 games, so 8 more than Dame. 8 more games out of 82. Cool. Like, I'm not saying Dame has a case over Luka, because that's the thing. I was like, Luka's first team and Dame's third? What? And people are like, come on, Dame's not better than Luka, which are arguing things I never said, right? My entire point was, like, statistically, team situation-wise, almost everything with Luka and Dame this season is identical, okay? Dame was, I believe, a more efficient scorer. Yeah, Dame was a more efficient scorer. More efficient from 3. I believe Dame was also, almost identical from 2. Much better free throw shooter. Passing-wise, Luka 8 assists per game. Dame was like, 7.3. Luka better rebounder, but he's bigger, 6'7". Whatever. Like, team situation, like, they're almost identical. I understand why you would vote for Luka Doncic ahead of Damian Lillard on first team. But if you're going to put Luka Doncic on first team, Dame should probably be second team. Because it feels like Dame got punished for his lack of team success, but meanwhile, you got
other
2 guys
players that didn't.
First team that didn't make the playoffs. And Luka didn't even make the play-in.
And then, I'm sorry, but Donovan Mitchell was not better than Dame this year, and he has a lot less attention on him than Dame does because he's playing with a better team, better players, so... yeah.
There needs to be a clear-cut criteria, especially if these things are going to determine contracts and like what's available, supermaxes, etc. There needs to be a clear contract, a clear context, because it's like it's a little ambiguous as to, like, should you value team success? How much should you value games played? They kind of took care of the games played thing, but it's like team success when you're voting for all NBA teams. How much should that matter? It should just be like the best players, the best performers in the league. It should be based off team success, right? But that's the thing is, like, with one guy like Luka, like, oh, you're so amazing. And then with Dame, it's like, oh, well, his team sucked. And it's not consistent, I feel like.
If you're just taking this year, not saying who's the better player or who's going to have the better career or who you would take if you're starting a franchise or whatever right now, if you just look at this one season, I think Dame had a better season than Luka.
I agree.
And it's not like that. I mean, it's pretty close. So like, I don't have a problem with you if you think I'm being dumb here, but I don't think it's even if you think Luka was better, I don't think it's, like you said, far enough away to where one deserves third team and the other deserves first team.
Exactly. See, that's the thing. It's like, I don't even want to argue Dame versus Luka. Like, I agree with you, but it's like, I could understand when somebody say the other. It's debatable, right? It's arguable. But that's not the point. How are they that far apart?
What player can have his team trade for a starter in the All-Star game and have that help his case when the team sucks once they make that trade? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I know it's not his fault the team traded for Kyrie, but they literally traded for the All-Star starter from the East, right? And they sucked. They were terrible after they got him. So much so that they realized with a few games left that they had to lose. And they had to lose to get that 10th pick. Otherwise, they were completely screwed over the next few years because they have no way of building assets. So it's ridiculous. Like, Portland makes moves to make Dame's team worse, and he still put up incredible statistics, including 71 points after the trade deadline and all that kind of stuff. Yet Luka's team actually tried to go for it. It didn't work out. They sucked. And part of that was Luka's fault. And he gets rewarded with first team because of it. I don't understand, man.
See, like, if Dame was third team, but so was Luka, and then, like, SGA was second team because his team at least made the play-in, right? And then the other guy on second team is like Jaylen Brown, then Donovan Mitchell and Steph Curry are first team, and, like, those guys are the top three because of team success. Like, I don't agree with that, but at least it's consistent, where it's like team success has these guys above the other. I'm more annoyed when it's like, okay, well, it doesn't even seem like it's consistent in terms of taking team success into account. So that's what annoyed me. That's why I was like, how is Luka first and Dame's third team?
But as people brought up in chat, what about 2 years ago when Curry didn't make the playoffs and he was first team? Like, yeah.
See, but like Warriors fans would be like, oh, well, he was the AC and lost in the play, and like, so it's like, okay, so that's a big enough difference.
So wait, is this a team reward or you know what I mean? Like
we're rewarding Steph for barely missing the playoffs, and we're punishing Dame because they tanked so that they didn't barely miss the playoffs. It's just like that's why it's like you need to have clear criteria when voting for all NBA teams. If they're going to decide anything, if they're just arbitrary and don't matter, then whatever, who cares? But the fact that like contracts can be tied to how many all NBA teams you make or whatever, like was the case with Jaylen Brown. Now he's eligible for Supermax because he made an all NBA team. You have to have clear criteria because it's not consistent. People don't vote consistent, and it makes no sense.
Well, did you see frickin' Mark Jackson didn't even put Jokic on his top five MVP ballot? Dude, he should never get to vote on an award ever again. That's so ridiculous. He said it was an oversight or something, but yeah.
How the... I'm mad that we have a no cursing rule right now because how in the hell do you overlook the back-to-back MVP, you freaking moron? That's BS. There's no way he overlooked Jokic when the whole league was like, Embiid versus Jokic. Does Jokic deserve another one?
And Kieran says he said he meant to do first team All-NBA. That is cap because he had Donovan Mitchell on his third team in his All-NBA voting. So he's lying.
Yeah, what the it's just, God. He's not even a good commentator. He wasn't a good coach. Just I don't like Mark Jackson. I don't like Mark Jackson. If that's true, then strip him of his voting rights. Honestly, the voters should get together and vote to strip what they deem the worst 10 voters and give it to someone else.
Well, like you said, people's contracts depend on this. It's kind of weird that they allow that kind of stuff. There was the voter who ended up having the other Jalen Williams in OKC, the big man Jalen Williams, on his first team, didn't have Keegan on his first or second teams. And he had like Jaden Hardy and some other guys that weren't on many people's things on the second team. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. I
wonder, like, is it people being completely casual or people thinking that they're so smart when they're like dumb as hell?
That one guy we argued with a couple of years ago that had like Hassan Whiteside as his second and defensive player of the year, and he said Luka and Westbrook were elite defenders because they averaged a lot of rebounds. Yeah, as Caleb mentioned, Tyrese Halliburton got a first team and all a defensive team vote. It's like, what?
Dude, there's so many people that seem to cover the NBA more so than other sports, but then again, I'm not as involved with other sports, but there seems to be a lot of people that cover the NBA that just like try and make themselves seem like they're such a genius that they fail epically.
Yeah. As Trevin points out, Halliburton replied to that, someone saying he got a vote, like laughing at it. Like he knows.
like some people just try and go so against the grain so they're different. Mm-hmm. And it's just stupid. Like stuff like that just makes it seem like they're voting to be different from other people instead of just voting for who actually deserves it. Mm-hmm. And therefore, they don't deserve that credential. They don't deserve that opportunity. It's just stupid. What's the point? Just gonna make a fool out of yourself.
Yeah. It's always like, or not always, because Mark Jackson wasn't this way, but it always seems to be like there's one voter that just for some reason thinks he needs to be a homer in his voting, and it's like the Utah one who voted for Walker Kessler as Rookie of the Year, you know?
Yeah, that's why I have a hard time caring about voting, just because it's always so stupid. Mm-hmm. Like the Dame stuff, just like, well, if I really cared, I would have been really, really mad about that. It was just like, oh, it's just stupid. I mean, there is another confirmation for myself not to care because that's just silly.
Caleb Pendergraph says at least all NBA teams will be positionless next year, but that like Jokic then would have made first team this year, and that would have bumped one of the guards off, so there would have only been. There might not have been a guard on the first team this year. Yeah. Which is maybe deserving, but at least then they're all in the same boat, I guess.
Yeah, maybe Brandon Roy should be a voter. I mean, I feel like you could pay no attention to the league. You just say he's a voter. Okay, he can do a little bit of research and come up with a better ballot than that.
Connor says, flip the perspective. People would say you're being homers. Why? Because we think Dame was close to Luka and Shai this year? Shai, whatever.
I mean, the thing is that we backed up why we feel that way with, I think, very sound logic. It's one thing to sit here and say, Dame's better than Luka. Dame should have been first team, not Luka, because Dame is better. Anybody can do that. There's nothing behind that. Okay, so it gets frustrating. We laid out a case for why there shouldn't have been much of a difference with very sound logic and multiple reasons. Okay?
Well,
he says, I agree with y'all, just playing devil's advocate. Well, it's to all the people that would say that is there are people that say that. And that's what gets frustrating. It's like it's not from a place of bias if we're sitting here giving you legitimate reasons.
Also, I mean, this wasn't just about Dame. We just talked about Jokic not getting an MVP vote, Keegan Murray not being on someone's like we're not being homers. We're trying to make it equal for all teams. Like we're talking about other players that got robbed or should have gotten those honors as well.
Yeah, and when Dame statistically had the season he did, and APM, which is one of the better advanced metrics, has him as a top 5 offensive season ever, and he's third team All NBA. Like, it's not like it's crazy to think that that's too low.
Yeah, to me, it's the people who like were just because obviously people voted for Luka and SGA first team a lot, but some of those same people didn't even have Dame on their ballots. You know, it's like that gets me.
Yeah. Yep. Gray Hughes Investigates says, wouldn't most people here take Luka over Dame? That's a serious question. That is not the conversation right now, man.
Yeah, we already talked about this too. I mean,
yeah,
he's almost 10 years younger. Of course, you're taking Luka over Dame if you're starting a franchise, but that's not. Yeah. This is a 1-year award for this year.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about this season and their production. So, anyway.
And Gray Hughes has a check mark because he is a verified YouTube account.
Yeah. Yep.
He's special on YouTube. It has nothing to do with us, but yeah.
He's a real YouTuber. We don't have a check, so we're not real. We're fake. Unfortunately. Just like, we're fake professionals, right? Because we're so unprofessional, and we're also not real YouTubers, so I don't know what we are.
No, I don't think he pays for it. I think he has his own channel that has a lot of subscribers. He talks about crime stuff, so you should go check him out. It's
not for 100K plus subs. SXKJX. Can you? I want a different name. You can just put SXKJX in parentheses and come up with a different name so it's easier to reference you when I read off one of your comments, because I just had a stroke trying to string those letters together. Anyway, Kieran's going to spam someone. We got Kieran riled up somehow because Kieran's always riled up. You do get the email about verifying after you get higher sub counts. Took me forever. You hear that, guys? Tell all your friends to subscribe so we can get a check mark. And also leave a like on the stream because it might help us get a check mark sooner.
Yeah, YouTube has nothing to do with Twitter or with so this
Elon doesn't own this platform, thank God.
The YouTube process of getting verified or your account with a check mark is a lot different.
P-Town, I don't know, man. I don't know assistants like that. I mean, Nick Nurse would be awesome as an assistant.
That's man, please. Yeah, it came out today that Milwaukee asked permission to talk with Scott Brooks about their head coaching. Not only do I want that to happen because that would be such a joke for them to do that, but it would force the Blazers to reshuffle their deck chairs, and that would be nice.
Yeah. You know what I would love? I would love for Phoenix to fire Monty and hire Terry Stotts. because like, okay,
don't do that to Gabe.
I don't root against. Okay, I wouldn't want that for Gabe. But it would be kind of funny to like hear Gabe rage about Stotts, just like we raged about Stotts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't wish that upon him. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
If people are turning on Monty, can you imagine?
I know. Well, yeah. Jeez.
Oh, hey. KJX put a name.
Colt. Nice. Good job.
That was
sweet
quick of you.
That was quick. Awesome. What's up, Colt? I like saying Colt because this is a cult.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've seen the cult name on Discord, but not on here. And it's also if you comment on here and you're active on Discord, can you maybe put your name that you comment on in here in parentheses so we can like be like, oh, that's Taylor Packer from chat, if he's like X427 on Discord, like we have no idea that you're
Ocean
that
Dragon 65, like because there's definitely people that I know are the same people from chat but just different names and I can't tell.
Carson, I know you, Carson, but
yeah. Gray Hughes Investigates, $10 dono. Thank you, Gray. Says, only certain words can be typed here. I couldn't say the F word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I I need to get my Stream Deck set up where I can like press a button and beep.
Gray Hughes puts his name on Discord. That's good.
Yeah. Dragon Lover 224. Gee Willikers. Okay, I'll change my name back to Coaching Vet. You are not. I know you're not Coaching Vet. He never emailed me, by the way. I'm still waiting on that email of him proving his credentials. Because, you know, he knows everything because he was an assistant or something. Assistant scout. I don't know.
Yeah, the Raptors had an interview with JJ Redick for their head coach position.
Gray Who's Investigates says, I don't hide who I am. I don't think YouTubers should be able to use anything but their real name. So you don't think our channel should be named Blazers Uprise?
Well, it's different because there's...
I mean, it could be Tori and Eric. Oh, you mean like using fake monikers for our names? Oh, like Jimmy High Roller?
Gee Williker says investigates is your last name.
Oh. Yeah. Shout out to you if you know the... I'm not even gonna go in. I always say that and then I do go in, but... Yeah, shout out to you if you were here when I spilled the tea on Jimmy High Roller. Kieran wants to know the story. Okay.
So does AJ.
I said I wasn't going to dive into it, which means that I am going to dive into it. I'm
Yeah.
just, trying to take the liability off myself.
I know
right? This is
nothing
what the
about him
people
other
wanted.
than what Tori's told me.
So, Carson said he's a buddy of mine.
Oh,
no.
man.
No.
No, Carson, come on.
Okay, Carson, I'll just ask you a question, okay? I'll just ask you a question, okay? I won't even phrase this like slander or anything, okay? I just want to know why he lied in his D1 story. I just want to know. You've told me this? Oh, I don't think you have. I don't know if you have.
Carson likes liars, apparently. Oh, man.
Oh, no. I'm sure he might be a good dude. I don't know why he lied and threw a coach under the bus, basically, and threw those lies. Like, it just didn't give me good vibes, I'm sure he's probably a good guy or whatever. Just that specifically kind of annoyed me. So basically that's the whole thing. I'm not gonna. His name ain't Jimmy. I think it's public anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But I'm not gonna say it. Okay. Oh, we got Gary Payton the 2 stand. Oh God, just freaking bum. Nah, I don't gotta tell him from the beginning. I didn't know Carson knew him. He said he's a good dude, but he may have definitely infatuated things to get views early on. Yeah, I mean, like, it would be one thing if he, like, lied in that story, but, like, that he's, like, I transferred and the coach didn't play me because of politics, because he wanted to play, blah, blah, blah. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like that, and it was just like, bro, you weren't good. He said he averages double-double his junior year.
And
I was a sophomore, and he averaged, like, 2 points a game. He, like, barely played. Because that was the team with, like, Rico or whatever his name is, and I kind of forget, but yeah, so Jimmy High Roller is from my area. So yeah, he lied, Carson.
He averaged 2.2 points a game, I think.
See,
I
I ain't gonna lie. I averaged 2.2 freaking points per game. That's why I get triggered. Carson, that's not true either. Are you thinking somebody's Jimmy High Roller who's not Jimmy High Roller?
His name is Taylor Packer.
His name is not Taylor. What? I'm confused. Now I'm confused. Anyway. I mean, sure, I'm not saying anything else other than that, I'm not making it personal. That's just what it was. So. But you're a great bench motivator, right? Laughing emoji from Rip City. Yes, we got hyped. It was fun. But yeah, I'll own my 2.2 points per game, and I'll just ban anyone that types the number.
And your per 36 was good, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. And my per 36 against the best team in our league was actually cracked. Because I scored 12 points in 16 minutes in like both games, so that's like 27 per 36 against the best team. So,
Kieran, go in VC sometime. Sorry, I'll tell you the actual story, the fuller story.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing like it's not actual beef. I don't have beef with him at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have beef. Like, he doesn't care about me. He's a big time YouTuber. Why the hell would he care about me? He wouldn't care about me enough to have beef with me, and I don't care enough about him lying in the video to have beef with him. I just bug me. Carson, what are you talking about?
You know him well. He's a friend of yours, but you didn't even know his name. Like, or you forgot it?
Yeah. I wasn't even gonna like say what his real name was, even though I think people can search for it. But yeah, okay. I'm confused. I know somebody else that knows him. Like it's whatever. I ain't gonna lie about anything. I actually blocked Peyton Pritchard. Okay.
Carson went to school with Jimmy High Roller and the Jackhammer.
And what's the Jackhammer?
He's a football player.
Carson, if you went to school with him, then you might know my like stepbrother. That's interesting. I'm blanking on my stepbrother's name. That's bad.
You're giving him crap about messing up a name. You don't even know your own stepbrother's name.
Oh God! We didn't grow up together. It was after.
Oh,
how am I blanking? I can blank with like names that I should remember. So it's just me being dumb.
By the way, Tori, you should know the Jackhammer now because he's a San Francisco 49er.
What is the Jackhammer?
Jack Coletto, Oregon Beaver legend. Oregon State Beaver.
He's from Vancouver?
Yeah, he's from Camas.
Oh, yeah, wait, PDX Papermaker. Yeah, Camas Papermakers. Okay, yeah.
We signed him. Yeah, the 49ers.
Because I was watching Jimmy High Roller's video, man, and I was like, he was showing some like footage, and I was like, holy crap, that's Mountain View. It was like when he had over 1 million. I think he had 1 million subscribers at that point, and I watched him before, and then I'm watching this video, and I see a gym in my hometown, and it was wild. And then he like said the year he graduated, it's like I played against him, or like I thought, because it's like double. I'm like, oh, I played against him. Played for Camas' senior year or whatever. I was like, oh, that was my first good varsity game as a junior was against Camas. First varsity basket scored on Trevor Jasinski, if you know that name. Carson, yeah. And I was baffled. And then, so then I like looked up box scores and stuff. I was like, yeah, he didn't average no double. What? He didn't start. His junior year, he didn't start. He said he averaged a double. Made no sense. Anyway, don't believe everything you see on YouTube, except from me. I will tell you I averaged 2.2 a game, and I will tell you that I blocked Peyton Pritchard because both those things are true.
Yep.
Anyway, life advice time.
If you're in our mock-off season, we're shooting for 8:30 p.m.
Yes.
Sunday nights.
Yes.
Be there to pick your team. If you cannot make it because it's Mother's Day or the time frame you live internationally or whatever, please message Tori or myself before the stream and let us know. We'll ask you for a list or a team preference list. So we'll need you guys to all be there, or at least have let us know that you can't make it. And if you're watching this and you don't check Discord ever, looking at a few of you like Wheezy, you guys need to start checking Discord every day. So yeah, that's kind of a requirement of the mock-off season. So make sure you're checking Discord if you're part of the mock-off season. And to Pasty Zach, who didn't even know, because apparently you never messaged him back to tell him he was in it. You are.
I didn't?
That's what he was saying earlier in the stream.
My bad. Whoops. If your name is light blue in the Discord, okay, you're in it. I'm pretty sure I told everyone else. I guess I forgot. Okay. So.
And I asked everyone to message me on Discord, just responding that you saw my message about Sunday. So, yeah.
Also, Brady and Connor are in VC. Nice. Cool. Hopefully listening to me together, because that sounds romantic.
Well, Connor is in here, but not Brady.
Connor. Oh, Connor, we know you're Connor. You need an alter ego name. Connie is what I'm gonna go with.
You didn't do Tankathon, by the way.
I know. I'm doing Tankathon right now because I saw that comment too. You guys know the deal. Let's simulate this thing and have our fingers crossed. Forgot what happened last time, because obviously I forget things.
Love you, Carson. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Bye, Carson.
Well, I don't think he's leaving, but he just said love y'all.
Well, hi, and love you too. 14 is New Orleans, 13 is Toronto, 12 is OKC, 11, Orlando via Chicago. Good luck so far. At 10, the Utah Jazz, meaning the Dallas Mavericks, are in the top 4, which is tragic. At 9, the Washington Wizards. Don't want to see another team move up. At 8, the Indiana Pacers. Okay. At 7, it should be Orlando. At 6, it should be Portland. At 7, it's the Orlando Magic. At 6, it is the Houston Rockets, meaning the Portland Trailblazers are top 4 with Charlotte
San Antonio.
and San Antonio. At 5 is going to be Detroit. So Charlotte, San Antonio, Portland, and Dallas. At 4 is the Dallas Mavericks. At 3 is the San Antonio Spurs. It's down to Portland and Charlotte. At 2 is the Charlotte Hornets.
Let's go, Wemby.
Meaning at 1 is your Portland Trailblazers. Please give me this. I don't know what God I have to pray to. I'm not religious, but I'll pray to any god, okay, for this to happen. All right?
When we were testing the internet at the pizza place, I had a fake "We Want Wemby" chant going.
Yeah, that's funny. If you didn't delete that stream, I should have downloaded it and just clipped it. Clipped that part. People be like, what the hell is this? You accidentally went live on this channel too, which was funny. Seeing the people in chat like, Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs?
Oops.
We're currently... That was funny. We're currently this far away, by the way. 4 days, 17 hours, 17 minutes, almost 17 seconds. I almost said it fast enough.
Well, Gray Hughes, it doesn't really matter, because we either will be in a position to land just about any player in the league, or we would have Wembanyama. So I think Dame would be fine either way.
Yeah. I mean, Dame said, luckily I won't be playing in the league for long once he gets here, obviously thinking that we weren't going to have a chance to number 1 overall pick. So, I mean, you're talking about a dude who could come in immediately and be a top 30 player. And then in the next couple of years could be a top 10 player.
It's just kind of overwhelming me right now that this is a possibility in less than 5 days.
God, I don't want to. We got a chance. I don't want to get my hopes up, but we do have a chance. Okay, Do have a chance. 10.5% chance. We do have a chance. If that happened, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing.
Kevin, it's just for fun, man.
Yeah. Just for fun. And
to kind of show how the draft could potentially play out, what teams have a good chance of moving up and all that stuff.
Yeah, so on the draft lottery at our party, I'm going to have graphics for it, so obviously I have to be sitting down with a laptop. So, like, we'll be sitting down just, like, backs against a wall, but then we'll set up another camera of the room with everybody in the room and their reactions, and then we'll have that footage, too. So, if you're going and have, like, a good camcorder, hit me up. If not, I can ask around my family and probably find one. But it would just be easier, obviously, if somebody going there has one already. So, if you're going, let me know if you can bring, like, a good camera, because I do want footage in case this happens. Or I want footage of our depression, because we could just use that on repeat for probably the next 200 years. Just kidding. Knock on wood. Speak positively. Speak it into existence, right, Eric? That's the thing LeVar Ball taught me.
Colt he cannot wait for the scenes when we get 8. He just, I guess, not only as a Blazer fan does he want to be sad, he wants to see all of us sad for some reason.
We got the number 1 pick, though. Today, at least. So
yeah.
That's beautiful at 1. 1 to Dallas for 4 and Luka, who says no. That's if we were other fan bases.
Yeah, Gray, I mean, anything. What do we feel in our guts? As a Blazer fan, I would never say I feel like we're going to get the number 1 pick or move up or whatever. So, yeah.
I feel my intestines in my guts. So, who needs life advice? Dios Solar. I mean, if it works, it works, you know? If it works, it works. We can get 2 camera angles if you bring one, Anthony, and yeah, I mean, bring it. Bring it. Charged. We'll set it up. If you have a tripod especially, could definitely use one of those.
Pacey, Zach, I guess whoever you have someone you need to block then, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Who gets the ring first, Blazers, Heat, or Kraken? Are the Kraken up? What's the deal with that series?
I think it's 2-2, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I'd probably say that... I don't think the Heat win it this year. I'd probably say the Kraken. I guess, because hockey's wild. You never know what could happen. There's even more upsets in hockey than there are this year in the NBA. Hockey's just crapshoot in the playoffs.
Oh, is it 2-3 now?
Oh, that sucks.
They were up 2-1 and then lost 2, I think.
I meant to say Mariners, not Heat. Well, the Mariners aren't winning anything because their owner's too cheap. Their owner won't pay for bats, and we don't have a good enough offense. Our pitching staff's awesome. Our bullpen's good. Our offense is freaking comical. We had a DH, a designated hitter. His designation, Eric, is to just hit the ball. He doesn't field. He's not. Usually, it's not a fast runner. He's literally supposed to do one job, and that is hit the freaking baseball. And we had a designated hitter batting like 100.
Kevin H says, what do you say about the whole Wemby will be injured argument? Dude, every freaking player gets hurt now. Like, it's dumb. Like, when Wemby gets hurt, everyone will be like, see, big man can't do it. Meanwhile, just this playoffs alone, look how many stars have been freaking hurt. You know what I mean? Like injuries are part of the game. Players are going to miss. You just got to get the best possible talent and hope they can stay healthy long enough to have a good career. I'm never going to worry about people being injured anymore because it's just part of the game.
Yeah. If there's not red flags on their medicals coming into the draft, it shouldn't be something to worry about at all. Especially for a guy that doesn't really have an injury history either. What's the reason to worry about it?
That's completely different. If there's something like the whole like Brandon Roy, he has no meniscus in one of his knees, and it looks like he won't be able to play much longer. Like that's completely different, or like he needs microfracture surgery or something.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing. But like if he's clear, I mean, people talk about how no one's talking about his injury history. Well, I freaking watch every game he's on right now. I There's literally nothing wrong with him. Like he moves well. So if he is injured or has injuries, like they're not affecting him one little bit. So I don't even care.
Yeah. Anyway, anybody needs life advice, we're ending the stream. We're ending the stream. We're almost 2 hours in. So if anybody needs advice on what to do with their life, also, this is the perfect time to talk about Manta Mask, who is one of our new sponsors. They sell really good, high-quality sleep masks, okay? And sleep is, I mean, the most important thing when it comes to having a productive day the next day. Sleep is very important for not only your health, but also your productivity. So I've generally had the problem throughout my life of being tired the next day, just not having enough energy. I've started using this, felt a lot more refreshed during the day, just felt better, felt more productive. And that's huge when I'm trying to churn out videos and whatnot. So if you want to check out Manta Mask, there's a link in the description box below. You can use the promo code Uprise for 10% off. They got different types of masks. So if you want to meditate, or maybe you already meditate, they got a sound mask for that, which, like, that's perfect for meditation. Blocking out all light, got the sound. If you do guided meditation, that sort of thing, that is something that I've gotten into. It's helped me out a lot. So definitely check out Manta Mask. It's probably too late to get it by Mother's Day, as this is a Thursday. Mother's Day is on Sunday. So if you forgot a gift for your mom, then that's unfortunate. But you could always say, look, I have this on order. This is coming for you. Or you could get it for your dad, or you could get it for yourself, because taking care of yourself is important. Thank you to Manta Mask for sponsoring us.
Will Nix asked a question. I have a problem that I invest too much of myself into the Portland Trailblazers. Advice? Well, since that is not possible, I would say that you think you have a problem, but that's not actually a problem. You just, unfortunately, you picked the wrong team maybe to do that with, because the Blazers have not been good at providing a lot of wonderful moments to go along with all the bad moments. But yeah, I mean, Tori and I are right there with you, man. If it's a problem, we all have a problem, so we're in it together.
Yeah. If it's a problem, then when you're watching the team and they start playing bad, what you do is you grab your Manta Mask and you put it on. Mm-hmm. That's what you do, okay? And then blocks out all light, so you won't even be able to see one single pixel on the screen. And then you can go to sleep and stop worrying about the team. And then that's the solution to your problem there, I think. So link in description.
What's up, Frozo?
What's up? We got any other good questions, Eric? Everybody's life is great. I mean, that's a good thing. I would love it if nobody needed advice. But we are here for you. As the cult leaders.
Where's my super suit? Unfortunately, Tori has not seen that movie, so he has no idea what we're talking about.
I can't
or even what
right now,
what
so.
movie we're even referencing.
I am not somebody who watches movies. I watch sports.
Have you ever woken up middle of sleep with those?
No. No, I'm a deep sleeper, but I don't like light, so. These do a good job of helping that.
I'm a terrible sleeper. I wake up at everything.
Yeah, that would suck with kids. Although I guess they're kind of at the point now where they sleep through the night, so.
How about no, Colt? Connor Johnson asks, is it too late to put the whole AI thing back into the bottle? Yeah, probably.
Matt Mobile says, does Tori even know what a movie is? I mean, I make movies.
I don't have a problem with like snoring or anything like that. I'm just not a very heavy sleeper. I don't sleep very much either.
Rip City, they're very comfortable. Like, I would be down to wear it the rest of the stream, but then I can't read chat, so. Should I wear those to the park? You should wear them when you play basketball. You hit a 3 with those on, clip it, send it to me. I'll put it on stream.
Will asks how we met. I, for a long time, posted on an Oregon Live forum back to the early days of that. Back in like, can't remember if it was like late 90s, early 2000s. And that went away, like 6 or 7 years ago. And someone from a forum that Tori posted on came on right before it got shut down and said, hey, if anyone's looking for a new place to talk about the Blazers, here it is. And so I started posting
Shout
on
out
there.
To them, by the way.
Yeah. And then, Tori found out that I played basketball or whatever, and he had just come off an experience in a 3-on-3 tournament with that forum the year before where he was very frustrated. And so he like started talking to me about playing basketball, and then we just started talking, and yeah, had similar interests in the Blazers. And then, yeah, so it started off just talking on there, and then he actually did that YouTube thing on True Blazer Fan. And then in 2019, he had mentioned that he was going to start his own channel and asked if I wanted to come on sometimes or whatever, and it just kind of went from there.
Good decision by me. Actually, we met under the I-405 bridge in a drug bust gone wrong, but I like that story better. That's what we said we'd tell people, so.
Well, where did we physically meet for the first time?
Under the I-405 bridge.
Oh, I was going to say if it was at some park, so it was probably similar to that.
Yeah. Arcade says True Blazer Fan is such a relic. Yeah, he doesn't do anything anymore. I assume if the team is good again, he might start doing it again, but...
Well, the NBA cracked down on highlight stream, stuff like that, so...
Did they?
Well, they made it harder to do, but...
Yeah. We need to pass him. He has 8.6k subs. So we are... like 570 subs away. Because technically he is the biggest Blazer channel, but it's different. He just does highlights, and I kind of helped him a bit, but then that helped me a bit, so whatever. But we need to pass him before the start of next season. But if you combine the two what, Connor?
2 channels or something.
No.
We don't have anything to do with him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kieran says if we get Wemby, it'll be over for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
Oh, both channels. But I'm assuming almost everyone that subscribed to this channel is also subscribed to the other one.
Yeah, and also next year we're doing a lot more, and we'll have more on this channel, and we'll have more on the main channel. Like, next year, the plan is for next year to do some cool stuff. I think I've hinted at it or maybe mentioned it once. I'm going to keep it under wraps. But we could have an announcement for like one of the things that'll be on this channel at the draft lottery. So next year will make even more sense to have this separate, because there will be so much content that it's like people that don't want the extra content won't get absolutely bombarded. And I know not a lot of people don't like the picks against the spread stuff during the season, so they don't want to subscribe to this channel, which is fine. If they just want our post-game shows, it's fine. I like the kind of smaller vibe over here too.
Yeah.
And then in the offseason, big streams are on the Blazers channel, and it helps the channel out because all the only streams we have pop. So it helps with the algorithm. So there's various reasons. Don and Jay Tor with the 250 rupee dono, Eric. He says, "What's up, guys? Big fan here," as he always does. What are your thoughts on how Watford can be next season? And is Scott Brooks surely gone now? Scott Brooks is not surely gone. It would require him getting a head coaching offer, but I don't think that's particularly likely. So I think he's probably going to be back next season, unfortunately. Thoughts on Watford? I mean, he's just stuck without a role, basically. I just don't really know what the right role is for him, and I don't know if there is a right role for him, so.
If he was as good at defense as he is on offense, he'd be great. If he was only good on defense and not good on offense, I think he'd be serviceable in terms of what the Blazers need. Unfortunately for him, he's just not stuck in a situation where the team doesn't really need his offense that much, but can't really afford to play another non-defender out there, so it's tough. But I think he can be like an end of a rotation guy, but he's definitely going to need to improve his defense somehow.
Yep. Nick Thompson says, seems like a strange move having Roy at the lottery. I'm a Roy fan, but doesn't seem very genuine at all. I mean, I don't really understand what seems ingenuine about it. And then Karen has a good response, says, last time he was there, we got the top pick. I think that's the logic. I don't know if that's the logic. I think it's more so the next part. He says fans were calling for it, and they've been wanting to get him involved to retire his number. I think it's that. Like, it's a good opportunity to kind of reconnect with him and lead up to retiring his number. And I'd love for him to be around the organization. Like, that dude's a legend. That dude's an absolute legend, and he should still be probably playing in the league right now. Like, he's the type of guy whose game would have aged very well if he had good knees. Like, how old is he right now? 38. Maybe he'd be retired by now, but like we would be talking about like his career ending, you know, winding down right now. So damn, he's only 38. Because he was like 22 as a rookie.
Yeah.
I guess that was, what, 17 years
2006,
ago? Yeah. Who's the oldest player in the league right now?
LeBron? Is there anyone older than LeBron?
I don't know. Chad, do you know? Because, like, LeBron is crazy because
LeBron,
in, like, 2003. I'm just thinking of, like, what's the...
Oh, Haslam, yeah. Haslam's like 40 and 42. Well, he's retired now, or about to be retired.
Yeah, but, like, what was his first season? Oh, he did 2002 to 2003. He played in another pro league in France. Mm-hmm. And then he came to the league in 2003, 2004.
Oh, yeah, Iguodala. Iguodala hasn't really played much this season, though.
Yeah.
He's even in street clothes. And then, yeah. And then I guess is the next two, like, Chris Paul and Horford.
Yeah, how old is Horford?
Horford was 2007 draft.
He's 30. Horford's 36.
Okay, so yeah, there's probably a few older than him.
Chris Paul's 38.
Yeah, he just turned 38.
Damn, Chris Paul's so old. That's crazy. Shout out Don and J Tor with a 150 rupee dono says, do we have a better chance than last year to land Hartenstein, and what are your expectations about our backup four for next season? Who can we get? I feel like if we were going to land Hartenstein, we would have done it in the Hart trade, so yeah. I don't think we have a better chance at all.
He's not a free agent either, so yeah.
We'd have to trade for him. I just don't think that'll happen. And then backup four for next season, I mean, we could draft a guy, we could trade for a guy, we could sign a guy, so there's so many targets I can't even really list any.
Well, too, it depends on where our draft positioning is, because if it's like the Jarris Walker, Taylor Hendricks type range,
Yeah.
That's one thing. But I like how Donna J comes in at the end after we're pretty much about to wrap up and doing life advice, and then he's asking all these.
I know. I know. I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Give me the rupees.
Donna J is the man.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being a big fan.
It's not Russian donos, Colonel Pancakes.
Life advice, college loans? ? I mean, what? Shout out Alvaro with a $2 dono. What's up, Alvaro? Says, wish we would have sent Dylan the Pickle to the lotto. We should have sent Dylan the Pickle and Douglas Fir if Brandon Roy said no. I was all on board the Douglas Fir to the lotto train. Like, imagine the ridiculous, like, mascot dance moves he would have when we got the number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we fueled you, Madden. Let me know if you need me to, like, rage through the mic to give you extra motivation for that workout.
Oh, yeah, that's what it would have been. We send Douglas Fir, but then right when the picks are about to be revealed, he rips off the head and it's Brandon Roy under there. That's a good one, Colonel.
That's ridiculous. I love it. Shout out Don and Jay Tor.
It's Brandon Roy. He was in the Douglas Fir costume. That'd be so epic, but only if we got the number 1 pick.
I know, yeah. That's crazy. That would be like one of the biggest like WTF moments in sports history.
Like, everyone would be like, why the heck is this stupid mascot here at the draft lottery? Like, we're such an unserious franchise. And then it's like, oh, wait, Brandon Roy.
Yeah, I think that makes us even more unserious than Brandon Roy. Oh, man. Yeah, Don and J. Tor had another 150 rupee dodo. It says, so everything is like based on our draft. Damn, that's a lot of pressure.
It's not that everything is based on the draft. It's just depending on where the pick is, too, it opens up certain trade possibilities that aren't going to be there. Like if we get the 7th or 8th pick, it's not as valuable as the 2nd or 3rd. So, or if we get number 1, Wemby is our starting power forward, and Jeremy's maybe the 3/4 backup. Like there's a lot of things that are still yet to be determined. And also, it still matters what happens in some of these playoff series. So,
yep. Anyway, I think that's a wrap. I'm ready to run. Thank you to Believe. Thank you to Bet Online. Use the promo code Believe. 50% reward is. I can't talk. See, it really is time to go. I don't know what's happening to my brain right now. Shout out to Bet Online. Use the promo code Believe for a 50% reward bonus. Thank you to them for sponsoring this edition of Blazers Uprise Live. Anything else, Eric?
Oh, thanks everyone for watching. We'll have that stream Monday nights to give our final. We'll do our final tankathons, do our final mock draft / hopeful stream before that actual event, and then we'll be live on Tuesday with streaming all the reactions to the picks as they happen. Tori will be on the graphics updating the picks, so you don't even have to necessarily watch the show or watch the TV if you don't want to. And you can hear everyone going either crazy or crying in the background. If you're still interested in going, hit me up on that. And then, if you're in the mock draft, just remember Sunday night either to be there in the live stream or to message us if you can't make it.
Yep. I think you covered everything. Looking forward to the next week, starting the mock offseason and the draft lottery. We'll have you covered. Anyway, check out Man to Mask. Link in the description box below. Promo code Uprise if you want one of these things. And then that's a wrap for this episode of Blazers Uprise Live. Have a good rest of your night. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.